Welcome to General Funding for Graduate School. My name is Cristina Villanueva, and I am currently in the multiple subject teaching credential here at CSUB. I am pleased to introduce Kimber Wellman, the Scholarship Coordinator and Financial Aid Advisor at CSUB. Thank you for joining us today, Kim.
Of course. Thank you for having me. So financing graduate school, as I'm sure you're hearing and finding out, is a little bit different than your undergraduate. The main thing that we want you to take away from today, from all these sessions, is that, yes, you can. You can do it. You can get through graduate school, whether it's the credential program, a master's program, doctoral program, PhD. Get out there and explore your options. So some of the things I want to cover today are different application and testing fees so that you can plan ahead, published costs versus out-of-pocket costs, some financial tools, and the financial aid process. Most of this will be a little more generic, geared towards going to any campus. There's a couple of pieces in here that are specific to CSUB. So application fees, as you've been hearing, you need to write your letters. You need to apply to go to graduate school, wherever it is you're wanting to go for whatever program. Every campus is going to have different costs for application, for their application fee. What I want you to take away from this slide is to make sure that you reach out to the campus, because they might have waivers, they might have reduced application fees, but plan ahead. Have those funds available so that you don't have to delay your application due to funding. Depending on the program you're going into, there might also be some testing you have to do before you can submit your application, or in between the application and acceptance process. So those testing fees, those are the most current testing fees I could find listed. I believe there's a session later just on the different testing that you might need to do to get into your graduate program. But keep in mind, you want to make sure, again, that you have those funds available, or that you've looked into the waivers and that you plan to prepare so that when you need to pay and get that testing done and get those applications done, that you have it ready, okay? Always estimate ahead of time and budget. Public cost versus actual out-of-pocket cost. This applies to undergraduate school too, but when you're going to graduate school, it's even more important to look into this. When you look up the college you want to go to online and you see that tuition cost and that price, that's basically like the sticker cost on a car, right? That's the advertised price that they put out there for you to attend. Doesn't mean that's what you're going to be paying out of pocket. So always take a look at your different options, campus ABC, university ABC, get offers from them if you're accepted, and find out what your out of pocket's going to be. It might be a lot less for that private institution than it is for a public institution, because they can have funding, scholarships, fellowships available that maybe the public institution might not. So don't not apply to that school that you've dreamt of because of the cost you see online. Always find out what you're actually going to be paying out of pocket. Every school will be able to show you online, or if you go talk to them, a cost of attendance. Okay, what's the expected dollar amount you should be looking at to fund yourself for a year of school? So what I put up here is our master's program cost here at CSUB. And across the top, you'll see 3 different budgets. That's based on what you put on your FAFSA or DREAM Act application. You'll either have a with parent budget, an on-campus budget, or off-campus budget. As you look at this, the top line, room and board, unless you're on campus, these are just tentative costs and estimates. That doesn't mean that's necessarily what it's going to cost, because you're basically controlling where you rent, where you stay. Transportation's the same. These are estimates based on whether you're driving, from on-campus home to visit on the weekends, or whether you're driving to campus every day. The only costs that are hard costs that will not change, are the tuition fees. So again, as you look at these costs of attendances for every school you're going to, While the tuition might be a hard cost, the rest of the estimates or the rest of the cost in those budgets are estimates, okay? Not things that you're necessarily required to pay out of pocket. Know the bigger picture. I agree with Dr. Samaya, what she said earlier. If you don't have to take out a loan, loans should be a last resort. Okay, but you're making an investment not only in finances, money you've saved, grants or scholarships you've earned, but in your time as well. Master's programs can be pretty intensive for a couple of years. So can the credential program. And so definitely can a PhD or doctoral program. So take a look at what's your major, what's your end goal, what's the career that you are hoping to have. And take a look at the average starting salary for your area for a bachelor's and a master's, and look at the difference in between. So on this example, if we look at a business administration major, the difference between a bachelor's and a master's degree is pretty significant, $27,000 a year. So if you take that over the remaining lifetime of your career, that's going to add up significantly. If we look at computer science, the starting average wage is higher with a bachelor's degree, but the difference between a bachelor's degree and a master's degree can be smaller. So look at the costs that you're going to possibly incur going to graduate school, and the potential earnings you can make. And these numbers, again, will vary depending on what your major is and what area you live in or what area you want to live in. So make sure you're looking at those options. Below are some links that I've used to look those up for students, to do some research with students. And those are great things to look at if you're looking at different areas and even staying in Bakersfield. Okay, what are the different options here in the Central Valley, the different cost ranges or pay ranges? So financial aid, you're looking at graduate school, you're either in your undergrad or done with your undergrad. So for financial aid, it all starts with the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application. So yes, you do need to do it every year. They both open today. FAFSA and DREAM Act open today for the 23-24 year. In California, the priority deadline is March 2nd. And now that will vary by state. So if you're looking at a school that's out of California, really encourage you to go to the link that's below. And that's a FAFSA link that will give you the priority deadlines for different states. So if you're looking to go to school in Michigan, you want to know what the deadline is for their FAFSA application in Michigan. Okay, just as an example. Even if you, maybe as an undergrad, you didn't do the FAFSA or DREAM Act every year, you didn't think you were going to benefit, completing the FAFSA or DREAM Act honestly takes 20 to 40 minutes for most students. You have nothing to risk by completing it, but you have so much you could possibly lose by not completing it, whether it's a scholarship consideration, a grant that you didn't even know maybe was out there, a fellowship consideration. They might all be looking back at your FAFSA for some information. So please, even if you're not sure you're going to attend next year, you're thinking about it, get the FAFSA or DREAM Act done as soon as you can. If you don't attend, you didn't lose anything. You can fill it out again the next year, but please complete those every year. Okay, different types of aid. So these terms all probably sound pretty familiar. Scholarships, free funds, don't need to repay, might require an application. Scholarships can be merit-based or need-based. So again, don't assume that you won't earn a scholarship. Maybe your GPA is not the top 2%. That scholarship might be looking at need. And maybe you don't have a lot of financial need, but you have a great GPA. Most students are somewhere in the middle, and there's a scholarship out there for everybody. Okay. Grants are also free funds. We want all the free funds we can get. Funds that you don't have to repay. These are usually need-based. So again, you would need that FAFSA or DREAM Act to be considered for most grants. Fellowships, more common in the master's and especially the doctoral programs. Those are usually awards for graduate students or scholars that you're competing for. And then they're based on you doing some other kind of research or contribution to your field. So when you see the term fellowship, there's usually going to be some kind of commitment on your part in your major and your program. Assistantships, kind of like work study, those are funds earned through work opportunities in the school, the program you might be interested in. And those are more readily available than you might think. So again, if you're struggling with how am I going to afford this school I want to go to, please go talk to the program or the financial aid office about opportunities for employment-based funds that you can earn, okay? And then last, always want to put them last, are loans and federal and private loans. So as a master's student, you can be eligible for unsubsidized loans up to $20,000 a year. Loans are a very hot topic as we are seeing it in the news every day right now. Loans can be abused and loans can easily get you in a bad place financially, but loans can also be a lifesaver if you need those funds to finish your program, start your program, if you get educated and use them wisely and only use what you need, okay? Schools will often offer you the maximum they can per year. You don't need to take that full amount. You can reduce it and just take what you need if needed, okay? So at CSUB, some different types of aid, and I heard some of these talked about in the last session. So federal student aid programs, again, based on your FAFSA. So loans, federal work study, teach grant for credential program, or even master's program if it's education related. If you're interested in the teach grant, just keep in mind it's called a grant, but it can turn into a loan if you don't meet the commitment to serve requirements. State aid programs. So here in the CSU system, we have a state university grant available as well as an MBA grant, and there's a doctoral grant as well. So fellowships offered through the Graduate Student Center is the Graduate Equity Fellowship. The average awards range from $500 to $300. And then for California Dream Act students, there's in addition state university grant and private loans. As we go through this presentation, we're talking about financial aid. Keep in mind that aid will vary by state. Aid will vary by public universities versus private universities. So please do some digging research. I'm here to help. If you're interested in attending somewhere else and you don't know what they have to offer, reach out to me and we can take a look at what that school might be able to help you with. It'll vary by state. It'll vary by school. It'll also vary by major. Different majors might have different funding sources. Some are very scholarship rich, some might not be, and that varies by campus as well. If you're a current student at CSUB, you can use our Scholarship Universe link, which is there. This portal houses not only our campus scholarships, but also about 10,000 external scholarships that you can go in and search by major and degree level, and you can click the links directly through the system and apply there. So to check those out, you just log in with your Roadrunner, your net ID and password, the same thing you use for your MyCSUB to go look at those scholarships. If you will be attending CSUB, our scholarships open early January for our CSUB funded awards with a priority deadline of March 2nd, the same as the FAFSA and DREAM Act. And this slide is particular to CSUB, but I kind of want to use it as an example because you want to know the school you're going to, what are their requirements, because aid can be prorated based on enrollment. Aid can be canceled if you don't hit a unit limit. So no matter what your situation is, just make sure you're educated on how many units you need to take to get the aid that you've been offered. So again, do your FAFSA or DREAM Act. Make sure that you're admitted to the campus. Most schools will not give you a financial aid offer until you've been admitted to their campus and their program, okay? Enrollment for us, you have to be in at least 3 graduate level units to receive loans or any part of your grants as a master's or doctoral student. For credential students, that's 6 units. to be considered half-time. So that's half-time levels, 3 units for master's, 6 for credential. And you need to be meeting SAP, satisfactory academic progress. For our graduate students, all post-bac students, that's a 3.0 and a 67% passing rate. And then look into whatever campus, whether it's CSUB or a different school, make sure you look into how to sign up for direct deposit so those funds can get to you as quick as possible. We also offer a financial education tool called Cash Course. If you go to the main website and just type in Cash Course, it'll get the link. And our campus is paying for this so that for you to have it available as a tool. There's online educational courses. You can sign up for live study, or there's some recorded courses as well. There's some really good tools such as budgets, interest calculators, good to use for loans if you're trying to figure out what you might be paying back. A dashboard to track your progress, paying something off, saving something, increasing your credit score. You can track all this through the dashboard. And then some great articles. So just a good tool for real life money financial questions. So here's the contact information for our financial aid office on campus at CSUB. There's the phone number, email, as well as the link to our webpage. And then there is also my direct email. Again, whether you're considering attending CSUB or another campus, please use us as a resource. We want to help you receive all the funding you can, free funds, as much as possible to go wherever you want to and make those educational dreams come true. We are here to support you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so we can take a look and see if there's any questions and answers.
Yes, we do have a couple of questions. So a student wants to know, does CSUB offer a McNair application fee waiver?
McNair application fee waiver. I know we used to have McNair scholars, and I don't want to tell you wrong. I don't have updated information on McNair, but if you'd like to email me with your question, I would be more than happy to do some research for you this week and get back to you.
Another student was wondering, she thought that FAFSA covered 4 years only.
That is, I hear that all the time, and that is absolutely incorrect. So just for example, if you were a Pell Grant recipient, Pell Grant covers up to 6 years, and it can cover a credential program. So FAFSA is the tool used to apply for any federal aid. And then it's also used by most states to determine grant aid. So FAFSA is the application. It's not an award. So it just depends. Cal Grant, for example, is only good for 4 years as a rule. But if you go into the credential program, I believe, Christina, you said you're in the credential program. If you're a Cal Grant recipient and you're headed to the credential program, you can apply for a 1-year extension on your Cal Grant. So FAFSA, no, is not good just for 4 years, but I do hear that a lot. Every aid type is specific and has its own limits and its own eligibility requirements. Good question.
Thank you. Do you use your parents' taxes if you are a dependent on your FAFSA application for graduate school?
For master's, if you're going into a master's program, you will be automatically considered an independent student. The credential program is different. It's not considered a graduate or master's program for FAFSA. So if you don't meet the other independent eligibility criteria, you will still be considered dependent, and your parents' information will be needed for the credential program. Okay. Unless you're over 24, married, have a child, or meet one of those other criteria.
Okay, thank you. Are graduate students eligible for the Pell Grant if they do not use the full amount as an undergraduate?
Okay, so for credential only, Pell Grant is currently, Pell Grant is currently not available for master's students, but that is something that's in discussion, and that's something that I hear through the grapevine could be changing in the next year or two, but currently no.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think one last question.
Yeah.
Cash course gives you money towards CSUB. Does cash course give you money towards CSUB?
So cash course does not give you money. It helps you learn better how to control your money, control your finances, how to build your credit score. It does not give you money that I'm aware of, but if you find out it does, please email me and let me know. But not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
But the scholarship link sure could.
Okay. So those are all the questions I received through the chat. If anyone wants to ask a last minute question, you're able to do so. I think Courtney, you have your hand up. Do you want to go ask a question, Courtney?
I just wanted to attest to the importance of the external scholarships and the extended universe that she was talking about. I applied for like 8 different random external scholarships in the spring, and I just won like $2,500 last week. And that is like a deal, like, a game changer for me. It may not be for some, but it's worth the time. It's worth the effort. Please go and do it. I was not expecting to win anything. And then it showed up like 6 months later and saved my life.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Courtney. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Scholarships can be a little daunting. Some of them want essays. They want personal information. They want you to share your story. Some of them take time to apply to. But for example, let's say it takes you 3 hours to write that essay that they want and you won $1,500. You just earned $500 an hour, basically. So, and again, please feel free to reach out to me if I can help with any of that. My biggest piece of advice with scholarships would be, number 1, to apply. And number 2, be you. When you're writing your essays or your statements, be honest about the struggles that you've had, what you're wanting to do, what excites you, what are your accomplishments. These scholarship committees and the readers who read them, they hear rainbow and unicorn stories all the time. So they know when a student is really just telling them what they think they want to hear. Be unique, be sincere, be your authentic self when you're applying. So, Courtney, there was a question to you. Did you use the CSUB scholarship portal to find the one that you won?
I'm trying to look right now and see. It's whatever they keep emailing us every week to go check in on your.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where did it go? I just had it. Yeah, the extended universe.
Yeah, scholarship universe. And I can throw the link in there right now for you real quick too. So you guys, here on campus, I post all the internal and external scholarships that come through for students. And I can tell you, I have one student who has won, I think, 6 external scholarships this year. So it can be done. And the effort you put into it can really, really pay off. And I'm so glad you shared that, Courtney. Thank you. The money's out there. The donors are out there. Read the scholarship, read what they're looking for. And if you think that's a good fit for you, do the application. Do it. The CSUB application, if you're attending here on campus, those external scholarships, you can be competing nationally. Sometimes some of them are worldwide. The ones that are offered here at CSUB that open in January, you're only competing with online students. Okay. And again, I sit in these committees and because I just kind of act as like their, secretary and help guide them through some of these things. And the same students are winning multiple scholarships because not enough students are applying. Okay. Sorry, Christina, I sent that just to you. Let me resend that to everybody.
Okay. We have one last question. Do you recommend applying for FAFSA when applying for master's? The student wasn't eligible when she was an undergrad student, so that's her question.
So especially if you're going into a master's program, because now you're probably an independent student where you were dependent earlier. So your parents' information, if that was kind of what caused you to maybe not receive aid, your parents' income is no longer considered just your own. And again, even if you're earning good money and you think you won't qualify for anything, I still encourage you to fill these out. Scholarships, for example, even if it's not financial need based, let's say we have 4.0 students. They might look to see any of them have done their FAFSA just to have information. So it could still be an important factor, even if you're not receiving grants because of it. If you are interested in loans, also the federal loans are so much better than any private loans you're going to find. So just to make sure you have all the options available to you that you can possibly have, do it. And then if you don't need it or you don't use it, that's your call, but you don't want to miss out because you didn't complete it.
Okay. Thank you, Kimber.